What you think a YouTuber is actually a bit different to what a YouTuber actually is. And being a YouTuber actually means something different depending on who you ask. It's easy to think that we just hit record, play Minecraft for a couple of hours, upload a raw video file, and there you go. But actually, most YouTubers have a huge team of people behind them that you don't see, kind of like a singer. Beyonce is not really Beyonce. Yeah, she's the face, she's the voice, but she also has a huge team of several people behind her, whether that be people who work in music production, legal people, admin people, finance people, social media people. It's the same with YouTubers. Your average very large YouTube channel has maybe one name, one voice, one face, but actually there is a whole team of people producing this YouTube channel that you don't really know about and you don't see. I'm not talking about these YouTubers. I'm talking about little old me with 200,000 subscribers who just plays The Sims daily. All I have is an accountant who does my end of year taxes for me. Other than that, I do everything. I do the video planning, the scripting, the storyboarding. I do the thumbnails. I do the editing. I do everything basically. So I'm talking about my personal experience, which may be different to others, and that's fine. I'm talking about the positives and the negatives. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Any YouTuber who tells you their job is hard is a liar, or they're greatly misinformed. Maybe some YouTubers work very hard, but the actual profession itself is not a hard profession to be in. I think people who say it's hard probably are doing it wrong, or they don't have a real job that they've ever done to compare to. Before I did this, I had some real jobs. I worked in retail, call centers, offices. I was an English teacher once, of all things. So as a person who's at many real jobs, I can categorically say this is the easiest of them all. But it's different to a real job in that it's not really a job, it's a lifestyle. With a real job, you clock in at 9, you clock out at 5. Maybe before Brexit it was 9 to 5. Now it's kind of like 8 to 6, but you get my point. With YouTube, it's not hard, but it's constant. And yes, it's just video games. I just play fake girly games like The Sims every day, but in reality, I don't just finish at 5. As soon as I wake up, the PC goes on, I'm doing something. As a creative job, if you've got that spark in the evening, which 99% of the time your spark comes right in the evening before you go to bed, you've just got to do it. I'm spending all night making YouTube videos, planning them, doing concepts. The actual editing and recording I do in the day, but all the other bits behind the scenes that you don't really see is pretty much from when I wake up to when I sleep. So even though it's not hard, it is a really long job. And yes, I don't have to do it that way. I could strictly set myself 9 to 5, but I wouldn't be able to keep up with my current upload schedule. And YouTube definitely wants you to have that high upload schedule. So I wouldn't say I get stressed out with the amount of work that I have to do. And I certainly don't sacrifice real life for YouTube ever. Some YouTubers do, and I don't know why. I'm more than happy to skip a video upload if it means actually doing something fun with my day. The typical day for me is like I have a late start. I don't set an alarm in the morning. I do a bit of work. I go to the gym. I do a bit of shopping. Like, it's a nice lifestyle. You're basically semi-retired. You're like a widower to a rich husband, basically. It's absolutely amazing. There are obviously negatives to it though, which I will come on to more later. But I just want to say from the offset, talking about the good and the bad, in reality, it is an excellent lifestyle and I have a pretty good quality of life. And I just want to say, I'm not saying anything in this video to brag. I'm not bragging at all. I'm just giving you the reality of it, my reality, because I know people are curious. The question that everybody asks or wants to ask, I certainly get asked on first dates, which is a bit weird. Yes, YouTubers earn a lot of money now. As I said before, I'm not a big production company. I'm not the Beyonce of YouTube. I play girly games like The Sims on my 200,000 subscriber channel. My videos usually don't get any more than 20,000 views. I'm not raking in millions, okay? I did upload a video once on this exact channel where I spoke about how much I earn as a YouTuber. I will link that one in the bio. My income has gone up since then. Something that I think surprised me when I started YouTube is that it's actually a seasonal job. And when you think of seasonal, like I'm not talking about Halloween, Christmas, I'm talking about seasonal as in farming, for example. Let's pretend modern day farming in greenhouses don't exist. Let's pretend we're medieval farmers and the kind of crops you grow are seasonal and how much money you earn. It's kind of like Stardew Valley, okay? You're not earning any money in winter, but you do earn money in spring, summer, and autumn. That's kind of like YouTube. You have really high months where you earn tons of money, more than you know really what to do with. And then a couple months later, you earn absolutely nothing. And you think, oh my God, my life's over. My YouTube channel's dead. Funnily enough, the dead time for most YouTubers is December, especially if you're a gaming or entertainment channel. For some reason, nobody's watching YouTube videos in December. I don't know why, because everybody's off school and work. But views typically go down, so does money. I earn 30 to 40% less in December, January than I do during my peak times, which is usually around summertime, roughly August up until around November. That's like my peak time. And then March to July is kind of like mid time. It's different for everyone. If you're a health and fitness channel right now, you're probably booming in January because everybody got fat like I did over Christmas. So money isn't constantly rolling in. Like I have a good month and I think to myself, I can't spend any of this money because I know I'm going to have like a few bad months in a few months. It's not straight up. It's like up, down, up, down, up, down with tons of dips. Today we're pulling out Microsoft Paint for the first time in 20 years. Now, most people expect growth on YouTube to be something like this, where there's up, downs, but generally it goes up. Although in reality, it's like this, and then 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 it's like this. You really don't know what's coming next. With that being said though, I do have financial security in ways that people don't do with a regular job. Obviously every year the economy does generally get a bit better, so minimum living wage rises slightly every year. But in a real job, you're not getting a raise every year in line with the rate of inflation, in line with the cost of living. Prices of housing has gone up, up and up, but people's salaries hasn't risen with that. And it's the same with the cost of food, general cost of living, and it's not fair. So the only real way in a real job that you're going to be able to earn more money in line with the economy is to get a raise, which let's be honest is not happening, or you constantly are job hopping, which is quite stressful. With YouTube, on the other hand, you don't really have that issue. There's no risk of losing money because you're not getting paid in line with inflation. Generally, it goes up a little bit over time, the income. And of course, there's no risk of redundancy, no 0-hour contracts. It's not like a real job in that sense. And in many ways, being a content creator is actually really, really secure. In fact, I've never felt more secure in all my life. Every single job I've had, I don't mean to brag, but I've always been maybe the employee of the month every month, or I've always had the highest KPIs. I've always been one of the top performers. And what do I get from it? Every single job I've had, I've been made redundant. I've only received maybe a 1 or 2% pay rise every year. I've been on temporary contracts, low hour contracts. I don't know if you have these in other countries, but in the UK, they give you a contract for, let's say, 30 hours, but they actually make you work 40 hours a week so that they legally don't have to pay you as much holiday pay and things like this. I don't have to deal with that. So I would actually say it's a pretty secure job. Something I will say about income, people think I'm richer than I actually am. I earn a very, very comfortable salary, but fundamentally, the economy, like all around the world right now, I know is quite bad, particularly in the UK. Everything has gone really, really downhill. I don't mean to be political, but like to put it into perspective, I earn a 6-figure salary and I cannot get a mortgage on a house. I earn more than the average couple earns, like together, and I still can't get a mortgage. The only people I know who have actually managed to get a mortgage are people who either got really lucky and they bought their house before the crisis got really bad. They bought it when it was only just a bit bad, or they've managed to buy like fixer-upper rundown houses cheaply and they've got family members who work in construction who can renovate the house for free. Maybe somebody died and so they inherited money and they could pay the deposit that way. And you know, everyone I know who does have a mortgage, like the mortgage repayment rates are so high. It's like all of the money that they're earning is going into their mortgage and they can't really live a life. It is tough. This is why I'm still living at home with my mum. So obviously compared to other people, my salary is great. But when you compare it to the cost of living and the economy, I would say it's average. But even then, I still can't really afford to get a mortgage. I still can't really move out. So I guess that's my fault for drinking Starbucks and, you know, Netflix subscriptions. That's my bad. But I am definitely richer than the average person, but I'm not a millionaire, as people seem to believe. And I do get treated differently because of money. Friends and family seem to think I'm loaded and they congratulate me, but I just know there's a hint of cynicism in there. Not like jealousy, but just, you know, like cynicism. People act as if I can afford the world, and I kind of feel like I want to celebrate like how successful I am, my friends and family, because you should be able to, but then I'm like, I shouldn't, because it's kind of like gloating. And people often say to me like, oh, how's work going? How much do you earn? And I tell them, like, I'm always honest with my family friends. I tell them exactly how much I earn, and they always just kind of get a bit like funny with me, like a bit weird with me afterwards. People do treat me weirdly, and it's a bit of a shame, but I'm slowly starting to learn to be a little bit more secretive so people don't treat me as negatively. So this is the big one that I think a lot of people don't really know, and a lot of YouTubers don't talk about it. YouTube is lonely. I'm sitting right now in my bedroom recording a little video. Where I sleep and where I work is less than a meter apart. And because all my friends have real jobs, I don't really get to see them much. They all have real lives and kids. As a YouTuber, you've kind of got Peter Pan syndrome. You don't really grow up because of the nature of the job. You don't really have to take much responsibility. So I'm fortunate to have made a couple of friends from YouTube who I do see outside of YouTube, and we don't talk about YouTube. We have normal conversations about normal things, and it's nice. Although most of my day, most of my life is pretty much spent alone. The only time I speak to somebody in the day half the time is saying, can I have a bag, to the shopkeeper at the supermarket, and that's pretty much it. And it's quite isolating, and isolation is really bad for your mental health. It's absolutely terrible. If you are a YouTuber and you're watching this, because I know a lot of YouTubers watch my vlog channel because you're curious, something I can't recommend enough is volunteering in charity. I've been thinking about this for so long. I'm going into my local charity shop tomorrow and I'm telling them I really want to volunteer and work on the shop floor. Social interaction is so important. You don't get it as a YouTuber. Even if you work at home doing admin or whatever, you're still having Zoom calls at the least. I don't even have that. I just speak to my camera. So I can't recommend enough. If you're a YouTuber or in any isolating job, please consider volunteering where you're socializing with other people, because it definitely gives you that social interaction that I think you'll really need, and it also adds some structure to your life. Like, this is something that I just can't recommend enough. And to me, I would honestly say this is probably the biggest downside, because I get cabin fever really easily. I'm the kind of person that just loves to be doing something all the time, and as a gaming YouTuber, you're just playing video games. I'm an incel. I'm one of these people with angry virgin disorder who piss in bottles and watch Twitch streams all day. Like, I'm literally a fucking incel. This is canon. Yes, I am. I'm an incel. I've become what I've always hated, and it's because I play video games. So I answer to absolutely nobody other than the tax man. YouTube is a really great platform. In my personal opinion, the best platform out of all of the social media platforms as a creator. They give you so much freedom. They give you so much support. They really are creator first. Like, they will help you with everything. They are really good at that. This is one thing I admit is so good about YouTube. I've never ever really felt like YouTube is doing me anything wrong with their policy updates or anything, but obviously I don't answer to them and I don't have a boss. Sometimes I answer emails to my accountant, but that doesn't really count. My accountant works for me. If I make a mistake, it's not that deep. I don't get in trouble, which is excellent, because in a creative job like YouTube, you need to have all the freedom to do what you want to do. And this is an absolutely huge bonus. But there is something I miss about a real job, which is kind of just like the stress of it. And obviously stress is bad, but a little bit of stress is good. Having personal responsibility is very good. This is why people have children, for example. They want the responsibility of it. When you feel responsible, you feel like you've actually done something good in the world. Having this sense of responsibility, I think, is so important for your mental health. And I just don't have that sense of responsibility. As I said, a lot of the bigger YouTubers, they have a whole team of people behind them, but I don't. So I'm not really responsible for paying anyone's salary. The best I can really come up with in terms of having more responsibility is taking personal responsibility. But then taking personal responsibility is stressful in a bad way, because it's like, oh, I'm not doing good enough, so I need to change this, I need to change that. Everything becomes internalized, and it's just not very nice. So weirdly, this is one thing I miss about having a real job, is having somebody to answer to. And I'm not saying it in the sense that I like being dominated, and I'm not saying it in the sense that I could cope with having a supervisor or a boss again, because I fucking can't. In every single job I've had, I've hated having a supervisor or a boss. They've always pissed me off. But it's just having that greater sense of responsibility that I miss. So I've already touched on before how my job is quite stable in that I don't have dodgy contracts and I'm not being made redundant. YouTube is quite stable, even though the money is seasonal and goes up and down. As long as you're prepared for it, then it feels stable and secure. I'm lucky to have a YouTube channel about a game like The Sims, which is very easily moddable. It's easy customizable. The game's been going on 10 years, to be fair, and there's still, like, I still have the ideas to make almost daily YouTube videos, so I would say it's stable in that sense. And once you've started one YouTube channel, you can start another one because you've gained all the skills. It took me about 2.5 years to really make YouTube my full-time job when I started my channel, but if I were to hypothetically start a brand new channel now, it would probably only take me a couple of months. So even if my current channel did go to shit, at the very least I could probably just start like 5 new channels and just see what sticks. So in fact, I would say it's very stable. And I am actually in the process of starting another brand new channel, and I also have another one planned. So I'm really excited for all this, just to see how it all goes. Now, there is definitely a risk of getting your channel permanently demonetized, having things happen. Some YouTubers experience copyright strikes, and if you don't know the difference between a copyright strike and a copyright claim, if somebody copyright claims one of your videos, for example, you use a copyright song, then they basically just take the money you've made from that video, which is annoying, but fair enough. Now, a copyright strike is like a really big deal. It's like, this person is out to get you. They're really pissed, and in order to strike a channel, you have to go through a lot of hoops. But when you do copyright strike a channel, that channel basically gets permanently demonetized and you never get the channel back. You lose your channel. It's very serious. It's very rare for a channel to get a copyright strike, but if somebody's really pissed, they can do it. So there is that, although I've always been very careful not to really use copyright music in my videos. Technically, EA owns a copyright to The Sims. EA are quite a, you know, cash grabby, shady company. Most gamers don't like them, but one thing they are very good for is allowing YouTubers and content creators to have total freedom. I could make a video totally bashing The Sims. They will not copyright claim me. They will not strike me. Even if I post images from like a leak that somebody else has leaked, like I won't get striked or claimed. I know in other gaming niches like Nintendo, like I've heard Nintendo are so hot on like claiming, taking down videos. EA never does this, and if I do have a problem, I will just send them an email and they will help me out, which I've done before. So that is something they're very good at, and I do feel very stable with my channel. If I did get copyright struck, I could just set up a new channel. One thing I will say to anyone who wants to be a YouTuber is don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is something that I did last year, which I very much regret, because I quit doing TikToks and I quit Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels. I solely focus on YouTube and nothing else, and looking back, I wish I didn't. This year I am going to be expanding more on other social media sites. I'm trying to earn money in more ways other than YouTube ad revenue, and so far I've done that. I do work with Instant Gaming on my Sims channel, and they're fantastic, to be honest. They give me a lot of stability. So I think as long as you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket, being a content creator is quite stable. So being a YouTuber is not a healthy job, okay? I have chronic lower back pain like you wouldn't believe. It is fucking horrendous. It is so bad, it's so painful, and nothing I'm doing is getting rid of it. It's really stressful. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I had like a slip disc and I needed surgery because it's so bad. I am making it like a part, I'm trying really hard to make it a part of my routine now to just like walk every day and do a long walk. At the gym now, I'm also doing the treadmill, but it's like if I just go to the gym and I, you know, run on a treadmill for 10 minutes and I do, you know, weight training, that's fine. But then I go home and I sit on my desk for like 10 hours. Maybe I should get one of those like timers that remind you to get up and do squats. Maybe that would be quite good. But it does definitely have an impact on your physical health. And I got fat again. As I started spending less effort leaving the house and doing things, I was just sitting on my desk and eating, recording videos all day, and I got fat as per my last video, which is obviously a negative consequence. And I do have some health issues. I have my lower back pain. I have high blood cholesterol, which I know from a blood test. I have early onset blood liver fat disease, which is lovely. So it's not great. And obviously there's a mental health side of things. As I said before, you do get chronically lonely, which causes a lot of problems. There is also another thing I'd like to address, which is ranking by views. Here is my YouTube channel thing. And yes, I am hiding my income from you. Haha. You get to see nothing. So every time you upload a YouTube video, there is a ranking out of 10. It ranks your videos out of the last 10 videos. And this is supposed to be a helpful metric in order to show you how well your video does. As you can see, this is based on how many views the last 10 videos got within the first 3 hours. And my current video is a 2 out of 10. Fantastic. That means it's the second best video I've uploaded out the last 10. Now, a lot of YouTubers get very upset when they get a video that's a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 on the ranking, meaning it's the worst video they've uploaded out of the last 10. This is honestly the biggest thing that honestly, like so many any YouTubers watching, you'll know, like you'll hate this. I personally have learned not to care because I've grown a lot more knowledge about YouTube, but this is genuinely like the one thing. It seems like such a small thing, but YouTubers get really, really down about it. And I did for a couple of years and it really stressed me out. Something that I have learned over time is that it doesn't matter in the long term, because I'll have a video that gets a 10 out of 10, but then in a year's time, it will just get a lot of views. Also, if you upload 9 excellent videos and 1 good video, that good video will probably be a 10 out of 10, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's still good. It's just you uploaded 9 excellent videos before. It's all about perspective, guys. So I personally don't get upset when I see a 10 out of 10. I use it to empower my growth, but I know a lot of YouTubers do find that specific thing really, really hard and anxiety provoking. So I wanted to mention it, but it doesn't really bother me. But in all, I think you do have to make a lot more effort than the average person to look after both your mental and physical health with YouTube. It is a downside. I think it's important to include a section about them because you think, oh, they don't exist in other jobs, but they do. You know, something I remember when I used to work in an office job. If you work in an office job, you will have the same experience as me. You may even be the troll. If you make a mistake in like an office job, even a small mistake, you won't just get an email from somebody saying, by the way, Satch, you made a mistake. Please, may you fix this? No, they will send your manager an email and they will CC you in the email, and they will CC in all the upper management to let them know that you made this mistake. And it's toxic. What else is toxic? People taking responsibility for something good that you've done, people bad-mouthing you in the office, toxic managers, toxic co-workers, like we've all got them. Toxic people exist everywhere. And I just want to say, dealing with trolls has not been that hard for me personally. I was bullied in school. Toxic people. After school, I worked in a retail serving Karens all day. Toxic customers, toxic co-workers. I worked in call centers. I used to work in insurance. You know, somebody would call me and tell me that their house is burnt down or they crashed their car, and I'd have to say, I'm sorry, but you can't make a claim. And then they'd be shouting at me as if it's my personal fault. Again, toxic people. Now I work on YouTube and I got toxic trolls. Toxic people exist everywhere in life, and YouTubers know no different. I think though the key difference is on social media is people have full reign to say whatever they want. I get called the gay F-word slur all the time, homophobia all the time on YouTube, people calling me ugly, people calling me fat, even if it's just like not people meaning to be unkind, but people just having like no social intelligence. It's like I posted on my Instagram story the other day, I lost 6 pounds in weight because I'm dieting, and I thought, great, this is like, I feel so good about myself. And then I saw the DMs and it was just people like saying, oh, by the way, Sach, you actually haven't lost weight, it's just water weight. And it's just like, you know, people are trying to educate me, which is what people online love to do. They love to educate you, but it was just kind of backhanded and like socially inept. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, even though people aren't always mean, sometimes they're socially inept and it's just rude. But I would say these days, it's not really that much trolling. I do obviously get the homophobia, people telling me to KMS, people saying, I hate you. But the majority of toxic internet trolling these days is more like, you're racist, you're sexist, you're transphobic, you need to be cancelled. It's the cancel culture thing, which is the big thing right now. The controversies, everybody online loves a good controversy. They love a good cancellation. They love talking about how problematic people are, as if it's my responsibility to be holier than Jesus Christ. It's kind of funny because, you know, I'm just a random bloke from England who plays The Sims on YouTube. It's actually not my responsibility to be the perfect, most morally superior person. And yeah, I'm an asshole. You're an asshole. Everyone's an asshole in their own little way. Yet people act as if it's my responsibility to not be human. They act as if it's my responsibility to be the perfect role model, and that's actually not my job. My audience are not kids. Fair enough, if you're like a Roblox kid-friendly YouTuber, then yeah, you've got some responsibility for sure. And I do take some responsibility. I could say words like and not bleep them out, but I don't. I could condone violence, I could condone racism, I don't know, but I don't do these things, obviously. The internet's very black and white, and when I say I'm not a morally superior person, I'm not saying I'm an asshole, but I'm also not the best person in the world, and I think anybody who's being honest will agree with me. So sometimes I might say and do something that somebody might disagree with, and the internet is full of different countries, people from different countries, different cultures, different family values, personal values, different DNA. Of course we're going to clash. Of course I'm going to say something that somebody else finds unacceptable. That's just natural. And in real life, you come across these people and you can just kind of modestly ignore it and accept individual differences. But on the internet, people aren't so accepting. People are very ruthless and they'll want to ruin your life. I always get called a transphobe. This is the #1 thing and I love it. It's so funny. I genuinely don't understand the whole LGTB LMNOP thing. Even me gay myself, like, it's too much. It's gone too far with all of the different acronyms. I just don't fucking get it. And for a long time, I genuinely didn't really understand anything about trans people. I didn't think about them. I didn't care. And then people online started calling me transphobic and I was just like, what the fuck? I don't even really know what trans is. Like, I don't even think about it. You're calling me transphobic? Like, what are you on about? I think it started when I played Hogwarts Legacy and it just didn't really stop. So I actually looked up being trans and I started following trans influencers and I was like, oh, this is actually really interesting. Like, I studied psychology at university, so I was really interested by gender dysphoria. I learned a lot about it. I follow a lot of trans influencers online myself now and I really like watching their content. I don't watch them because they're trans. I just enjoy their lives. I find them interesting. And I actually have a lot of, from learning all of that and looking into it, I actually have a lot of admiration and respect for trans people. I'd more than happily wave a trans flag outside my window, like 100%. I wouldn't wave the LGBT flag, but I would wave the trans flag because I have a lot of admiration. I think it's, okay, I'm going on a tangent, chill out. What I'm trying to say is, like, you could be like a trans ally, but you could be called a transphobe at the same time. People love to attack your personal values and it's not nice having your personal values attacked, and then you've got other people who believe these lies spread by other people. Something I've learned when it comes to trolling, which I think is a really valuable lesson for anyone in life dealing with toxic people. It is not your responsibility to be accountable for other people's words and actions. It is also not your responsibility to be accountable for other people's gullibility in believing the lies spread about you by other people. With that being said, I'm not addressing shit. If somebody somebody makes up a rumor about me, a controversy, a cancellation, I don't address it because I'm not responsible for what other people say. And if you choose to believe it, I'm not addressing your beliefs because it is not my responsibility to disprove what other people have said about me. So I'm quite emotionally resilient, I think, when it comes to dealing with it. But I would admit at first it was hard, and I know a lot of YouTubers find it hard. So for me personally, in terms of the trolling segment, I would typically say, like, I genuinely couldn't give a shit. I don't Google myself, I don't care. Sometimes if I see hate comments, if anything, I find them funny sometimes, especially when they make fun of my big nostrils, because they are like big craters. So I definitely think it's good. If you're a content creator, please see the funny side and hate, because like these people, they're just incels. It's not their fault. Dating is a weird one. I didn't know whether to put in here, and suffering difficulties when you're dating is maybe an issue that a celebrity has, or like a really big influencer. I'm obviously like not that big of an influencer. I'm not on Raya, for example, Raya, whatever you call it. You wouldn't think that it has an impact on dating. It has a huge impact. Every single date I've been on, and I've told them I'm a YouTuber. In fact, let's just go back to the start, okay? Before we've gone on a date, let's start off with the apps. So I've experimented with lying and saying I'm just a video editor, which is technically not a lie, because I edit all my own videos. And I've also just said I'm a social media influencer. Either way, it normally goes to shit, because if I say I'm a video editor, they say, well, what videos do you edit? And I have to say, oh, I edit videos for other YouTubers. And then they're like, which ones? And I'm like, oh, I can't tell you because of confidentiality. And they're like, that's weird. And if I do tell them I'm a YouTuber, they all say, give me your channel name, I want to see your videos. And I say no, because it's like, that's really unfair. Having an Instagram stalk before you go on a date with somebody is one thing, but actually watching a person's YouTube videos where I upload videos like this and Q&A videos, you get to see so much of me before we go on the date, and that is so unfair. And you're just going to make assumptions about me based on my channel, because obviously I am me on YouTube, but it's like a dramatized version of myself to make, you know, entertaining videos. So it's not like the real me. It is me, you know what I mean? So I just don't like people knowing. Then when I say no, they act suspicious, and it's just funny. Like if you worked as like a school teacher or something, I wouldn't be like, show me all of the presentations that you're doing in class. Say, I want to see every single one of them. Like you wouldn't say that. If somebody had an office job, you wouldn't be like, show me your emails, show me your spreadsheets that you worked on today, show me your pivot tables in Excel. You wouldn't say that. So why do people think it's okay to say it to me? And people seem to have no filter and absolutely no qualms about asking me how much I earn. It's like, it's not a normal question to ask on a date, how much do you earn exactly? But people feel like it's okay to ask me, and it's just like all the conversation about me, and YouTube, and it's like, I just don't like it. Like I'm just a fucking guy who plays The Sims on YouTube. Shut up, it's not that deep. Also, every relationship I've had has been affected by YouTube. Every single guy I've dated has felt kind of inferior to me in a weird way, and it's just made it all uncomfortable. Like obviously I am the one who pays the bill on the first dates in the restaurant. That's fine, I'm happy to do that. I know the kind of things that I want to do, maybe they can't afford, so I'll have to pay for it. That's fine. But I think they feel a bit weird about it, which I guess I understand. It also makes it hard to date someone on my level because I'm an immature person. This is why I make fun YouTube videos. This is why I'm quite wild and chaotic on YouTube, which makes my channel, I guess, good. But I've also got a mature side. Off YouTube, I am quite a boring person, really, and quite boring, mature, normal. And it's definitely hard with dating to find someone who's on my level, because I find guys who match my crazy, chaotic YouTube side are usually guys who are younger than me, maybe like 23 to 25 or whatever, so a few years younger than me, but then they obviously don't have any financial stability. And then guys who are a bit older than me, they get put off because I earn more money than them. And it's like, you know, I spoke to a guy who was a doctor once, and like I think he found it a bit hard that I upload videos playing The Sims and talking about sex mods earning double his salary. So that that went shit. It's crazy that a YouTuber earns more than a doctor, really. It's pretty sick, actually, isn't it, really? The selfish side of me is, you know, like, I'm not complaining, but obviously it's not fair. Pretty much everyone I know works harder than me. I'm going off topic. So I will say dating is actually hard, and it's something that a lot of YouTubers don't talk about. I don't know if I would ever really want to date another content creator, which people have told me to do, but I'm not really in the influencer circle. I don't know if you guys see me on Instagram, but I'm not like a part of the whole influencer lifestyle thing. Like, that's not me. I'm just a normal guy trying to find a normal boyfriend. And as a chronically single incel, I guess dating can be difficult when you're a YouTuber, and it certainly made dating even harder than it was before. And even though I am a small YouTuber, I play The Sims, which has a very niche audience of girls and gays. So a lot of guys I match with on Tinder, they do recognize me, just because a lot of gays play The Sims, and sometimes they tell me outright and they act like a fanboy and I block them because it puts me off. Other times they try and pretend they don't know me, but like, it's so fucking obvious. I'm basically a mind reader with these people. Like, I know when they're lying. So that's always a thing as well. It's just, yeah, this is one side, first of all, problem, but it is definitely something that's harder. So is YouTuber a good or a bad job? It is absolutely fantastic. I get paid to play video games. I'm basically retired. It's basically like having a sugar daddy, but without the sugar daddy. You're not responsible for sucking, you know, a rich old man's dick every day in order to keep him happy. All you're doing is playing video games, and it's pretty much the same thing. I'm still a normal human being. Yes, I earn more money than the average person. I still can't move out my family house. The UK has a housing crisis. Instead of having to buy £1 bags of pasta, I can buy a £4 bag of luxury pasta imported from Italy. But either way, it's like I'm still eating the fucking pasta. Do you know what I mean? Okay, well, that's a bad analogy. What I'm saying is, like, you can spend more money on expensive things than I do. I love luxury designer clothes. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I love it. I love the Burberry. That's my favorite. But fundamentally, okay, whether you're wearing a Burberry jacket or a H&M jacket, like, you're still just flesh and bones in a jacket. Yes, I'd rather cry in Burberry, but fundamentally I'm still crying. We're all still human. We all still experience the same emotions. Life is easier and more comfortable, but there are some downsides to it too. And I wanted to talk about the positives and the negatives of being a YouTuber equally, and I feel like I've done that. But I will say in general, it's a fantastic lifestyle and I'm very grateful. I've started earning more money since I uploaded this video, but if you are curious what a YouTuber earns, you may as well give it a watch. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.